Good morning. I'm meteorologist Kevin Smith at the National Weather Service in Pocatello with another edition of your Southeast Idaho weather hazard and planning briefing. And please disregard the incorrect date up here in the upper right-hand corner. A little bit of an issue with our software there, but this briefing is for Wednesday, April 7th, 2021. So what are we expecting for the next few days in terms of weather hazards? Wind. It's the wind, the whole wind, and nothing but the wind is our main focus here in the forecast over the next few days. But for those who need a little bit more information and context here, let's break it down. High pressure providing a break between systems today. Beautiful conditions, plenty of sunshine, dry weather, fairly light winds, slightly warmer temperatures today compared to what we've seen over the past couple days with our last system moving through. So a little break between systems here. Again, that next storm system is on the way, though, expected to bring some isolated light, low impact rain and snow showers to some of our mountains north and east of the Snake Plain on Thursday. The much bigger deal here, though, those strong winds and some blowing dust potential for Thursday afternoon and evening. And that's what we'll really focus in on here for the rest of the briefing. On the backside of that, high pressure is back. Another break between systems on Friday, so more sunshine, dry weather, really light winds. Before we repeat it all over again, another system on the way for Saturday with a few more light rain and snow showers, really low impact, but more potential wind. And Saturday's system looking quite similar, actually, to Thursday's system, particularly with that wind potential. Not much to see on the satellite this morning. Pretty quiet across our area. You might be able to pick out, this loops again here. There's a little bit of a spin right up here near the coast of Alaska. So this general area is where that next low pressure storm system is coming together and is headed our direction for our wind event on Thursday. Weather and impacts outlook here over the next 5 days. Very easy to see where those storms are located. Here's our quiet, dry, beautiful conditions today. Repeating that on Friday, and then Thursday and Saturday lit up for these two quick storm systems coming through. Again, both days we have some light rain and snow showers indicated here for a few of these zones. Really low impact. We're not expecting significant precip amounts. And in fact, areas that do see some of these snow showers, and again, that's generally the mountains north and east of the Snake Plain, really only expecting up to maybe an inch of snowfall, and certainly many locations seeing less than that. So the big deal for both of these systems, Thursday and Saturday, is the wind. And for Thursday, we have lit up here the Snake Plain, the Magic Valley, into some of the adjacent highlands and South Hills for the windiest conditions and the greatest concern of blowing dust. Similar areas expected to be impacted here on Saturday, particularly, again, the Snake Plain and the Magic Valley. Okay, so high temperatures today, better. We worked so hard to get these temperatures for you this morning, getting up generally into the 50s for most locations here in the mountain regions, and then into the 60s, even some upper 60s down at lower elevations of the Snake Plain, making a run close to 70 out here in the Burley and Twin Falls area, about 63 or so for Pocatello, American Falls, and a few cooler spots like Island Park and Driggs topping out just below 50 degrees this afternoon. Again, sunshine, dry weather, quiet conditions break between systems today. Thursday, we lose a little bit of momentum there. Temperature's a little bit lower because we have that system moving through. So you can see here values getting up generally into the 50s, but we lose those 60s down at lower elevations. And wind. Okay, so let's dig right into the wind and blowing dust situation here. First, we have issued a wind advisory, and you can see that indicated on this graphic here from the Magic Valley up the Snake Plain corridor and then into some of the highland zones here just to the south and east of the Snake Plain, including down across Cassia County and that stretch of I-84. Issued this a little earlier than we might otherwise have put it out, trying to get some lead time on it because our confidence is increasing in this wind event for Thursday. So here's where I want to spend some time. Here's what we're looking at right now for our forecast winds and wind gusts. This graphic on the left, sustained wind values across the region. Over here on the right, wind gusts expected on Thursday. So breaking this down, timing. Winds will start to increase over the course of the morning on Thursday, and you're actually going to notice that mostly up in the terrain. We're going to see those winds increase aloft first, so if you happen to be up in really high terrain areas or near a mountain peak, those winds will start a little earlier, but it'll take a little bit of time to get those down to the surface into the lower elevations. So I think right around 11 a.m., maybe 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. or so, we're going to see a really rapid increase in wind speeds down low at the lower elevations and population centers during that time. Those high winds will continue throughout the day until about 9 or 10 p.m. in the evening, and then they will slowly relax as we go into the night. And even by midnight, Thursday night, still expected to be pretty breezy across the region. So here on the left, those sustained wind values, again, this corridor from the eastern Magic Valley right up the Snake Plain and into some of the adjacent highlands. Pretty good real estate here, topping out at about 30, I'd say 25 to 35 miles an hour for sustained winds, generally out of the west-southwest. Outside of that, a little bit lower, about 15 to 25 mile an hour sustained winds for the rest of southeast Idaho. Over here on the right, here's your wind gusts. Again, that main corridor where we have the advisory in effect lighting up for 45 to 55 mile per hour gusts. I think are going to be pretty widespread in this area. And then everyone across the region has a chance to get to about 40 miles an hour for wind gusts. Again, during this peak period, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Thursday. So two greatest concerns as far as impacts go. Certainly difficult driving for high-profile vehicles is expected, and that's going to be particularly true where we can set up crosswinds on north-south oriented highways and interstates, or even northwest-southeast oriented highways. We see that with many of our advisory events. But the big wild card here, low confidence but potentially high impact wild card, is this blowing dust. This is what we're worried about seeing during this event on Thursday. Very low visibility. The big question here is soil. So we did have a little bit of rain and snow, of course, over the last couple days, but now we've entered into about a 48-hour period where we might be able to dry out those surface soils. We have a lot of active agriculture and plowing going on right now across the region. And that's what we're concerned about. If we can really dry those surface soils out in time for this event, we could see pretty significant issues with blowing dust based on these wind values that we're forecasting right now. Really, to be honest, we don't have a great way to monitor soil moisture, so I don't think our confidence is really going to solidify much until the event starts. Once these winds start ramping up, we can kind of see how the soils are responding and how much dust develops, but we want everyone to be prepared for this hazard on Thursday. Okay, you may see pockets of very low, near zero visibility if we do get the blowing dust going. And maybe even some highway closures as a result of that. And of course, typical trouble spots, I-15 here between about Hamer and Idaho Falls, down in the Fort Hall area along I-15 often has problems. Over here into I-86 near American Falls and Arbin Valley, those are some of the hot spots where we typically see these problems develop during our wind events. And certainly there'll be some other isolated problem spots and pockets of blowing dust out there as well. Lesser concerns, maybe a few isolated tree limbs down, maybe a few isolated power outages. Can't rule it out completely. Generally, though, for that type of damage, we're looking for warning level winds. We're looking for wind speeds a little higher than what we're seeing here. So that's what we're looking at on Thursday, and we want to make sure the word is out for these hazards, particularly, again, Thursday afternoon and evening. High temperatures going into Friday, not too bad. Again, another break between systems, dry, lots of sunshine, really quiet across the region. Those temperatures getting up. Cooler spots like Island Park and Driggs and Stanley into the 40s, but most of the region into the 50s and maybe 60 again for the eastern Magic Valley. Saturday, very similar, maybe a degree or two cooler, as again we have that second system coming in. Once again, maybe a few really light, low impact rain or snow showers in some of the mountain areas, particularly right along the Montana border and maybe the central mountains, although looking pretty dry at this point for Saturday's system. Again, the concern will be wind. So here's another early look at what those wind speeds might look like. Again, very similar areas and very similar speeds to what we're expecting for Thursday's event. Here's sustained values on the left. Snake Plain region getting up to about 20 to 30 miles an hour out of the west. And then wind gusts, about 40 mile an hour gusts possible everywhere, but some gusts higher than that certainly in the Snake Plain. And stay tuned as these values may trend a little bit up or down as we continue to refine the forecast as we head towards Saturday. And that's what we have on tap for this week. Again, wind, Thursday and Saturday. Really the wind and blowing dust, both of those systems, is what our main focus is on here as far as the forecast goes. If you have any questions or comments for us, please reach out with the contact information on your screen. You can get your forecast anytime for your location, weather.gov/Pocatello. Everyone have a great and safe Wednesday.